As required by Chicago Human Rights Ordinance, Section 610-040, every employer shall have a written policy document prohibiting sexual harassment. The written document shall include the following: a statement that sexual harassment is illegal in Chicago, a definition of sexual harassment as defined in Section 610-020, examples of prohibited conduct that constitute sexual harassment, details on how an individual can report an allegation of sexual harassment, legal services available to employees who may be victims of sexual harassment, a statement that retaliation for reporting sexual harassment is illegal in Chicago, a requirement that all employees participate in a minimum of 1 hour of sexual harassment training annually. Anyone who supervises or manages employees shall participate in a minimum of 2 hours of sexual harassment training annually. And all employees shall participate in 1 hour of bystander training annually. This course meets the requirement for 1 hour of bystander training annually. To read more, visit this website.
Caution: this course includes content that some individuals may find upsetting. If you have concerns about viewing this material, please contact your HR department or a trusted individual in your organization.
In September 2024, the EEOC New York District filed a case against Garden City Jeep Chrysler Dodge because an inventory manager at one of their dealerships touched and grabbed female employees' breasts and backsides, ran his hand on a female employee's hair and back, regularly engaged in moaning and catcalling, and talked about female employees' bodies and his own sex life. According to the EEOC, other managers regularly witnessed this harassment. Female employees repeatedly complained to management and HR, and some, unfortunately, resigned in order to escape harassment. This situation is especially relevant to this course because coworkers stepped in and reported the situation. Finally, the EEOC got involved because the employer continued to allow this conduct. Even though it's a terrible situation, it's an excellent case study because of how the coworkers got involved and tried to stop the inappropriate behavior by reporting it.
And at a Minneapolis area YMCA, female employees, some of whom were teenagers, were subjected to sexual harassment by one of the managers. According to the EEOC, a manager repeatedly propositioned one of the employees for sex and made unwelcome sexual and demeaning comments. The employees reported the harassment to the YMCA management. Unfortunately, management didn't take prompt action to stop the harassment, which resulted in one of the employees resigning to avoid being further harassed. So the EEOC had to get involved. Like the first example, this is an excellent case study showing how employees got involved in trying to stop the harassment by reporting it.
And here's one more that took place at a hog farm in New Athens, Illinois. According to a lawsuit filed in March of 2024, beginning in October 2020, a new hire exposed his genitals to a transgender employee, touched and attempted to touch her breasts, and made frequent unwanted comments and sexual advances towards her. Much of this behavior occurred openly in the presence of other employees. Thankfully, at least one employee got involved and reported the harassment to the co-owner. Unfortunately, though, in this instance, the co-owner did not take any steps to address the harassment, so this too became a case involving the EEOC.
Wow, I hate hearing about these incidents. Actually, I have a personal story too. This happened to me a while ago. I was in a situation where I didn't know what to do. I was a bystander to something that, in hindsight, I should have intervened in. And honestly, I've been thinking about it a lot since. It was during a team lunch at a work event. I was sitting with a small group of coworkers, doing nothing out of the ordinary, just chatting and eating. Then one of my colleagues started making some comments to another coworker, Sarah, about what she was wearing. At first, it seemed like he was joking around, but then his comments got more personal and more inappropriate. At first, I laughed it off, trying to diffuse the tension because I didn't know how to handle it. Sarah laughed nervously, but you could tell she wasn't comfortable. I thought, it's probably nothing, maybe I'm overthinking it. But as the conversation went on, it became clear to me that this was more than just harmless teasing. I saw Sarah's face change. Her smile faded, and she started looking around, clearly uncomfortable. But I just froze. I didn't know how to step in. I didn't know what to say. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's ever been in a situation like this. Maybe you've been there too, watching something happen that you know is wrong, but feeling unsure about whether you should step in or even how to do that.
Yeah, those situations can be difficult, especially knowing that we all have the power to make a difference when we see something like this happening. But we don't always know what to do and how. We need help with knowing what our options are in situations like these. And that's what we're here to learn together in this course: how to recognize when something's not right, how to be empowered by knowing how to step in, and how to support others when it matters most. It's interesting that you mentioned that there were other people there too. I wonder why they didn't intervene either.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do, and you're right, there were other people there too. I've thought about that a lot since. You'd think with more people around, someone would step in, right? But sometimes the opposite happens. It's called the bystander effect. The more people there are at the scene who witness something, the less likely any one person is to step up and take action. It's like we all assume someone else will handle it. But here's the thing. Understanding this can help us break out of that mindset. We don't have to be passive observers. We can choose to be active bystanders, to step up, even when it feels tough or awkward. And that's what we'll be exploring in this course: how to overcome that hesitation and make a positive impact. So, what could I have done differently? And how can we all be better prepared to step in when it matters most? Those are the questions that we're going to talk about today.
Exactly. Let's go through some legal stuff first. According to the Chicago Human Rights Ordinance from the City of Chicago Commission on Human Relations, every employer has a responsibility to make sure that their employees know that sexual harassment is illegal in Chicago. Additionally, every employer shall have a written policy document prohibiting sexual harassment. All employees must participate in sexual harassment prevention training annually with a 1-hour minimum annual requirement for employees and a 2-hour minimum annual requirement for anyone who supervises or manages employees. In addition to that requirement, employees are required to participate in 1 hour of bystander training annually. This course is designed to meet the 1-hour bystander training requirement. By the end of this course, you'll have a better understanding of how to intervene effectively as a bystander and how you can make a real difference in your workplace.
And you should know, the City of Chicago has a strict zero-tolerance policy against all forms of sexual harassment.